No one and nothing will bother you anymore. Try this and see. Stoicism. No one or nothing will bother you again. Try this and see. Have you ever noticed how some people live as if they're trapped in a never-ending drama, where every minor inconvenience is blown out of proportion? A driver cuts them off, and it's taken as a personal attack. A friend takes too long to reply, and it's seen as betrayal. The barista gets their order wrong, and suddenly it's an unforgivable offense. Yet, in stark contrast, there are those rare individuals who move through life with an almost supernatural calm, untouched by the chaos that consumes everyone else. Insults? They shrug them off. Unexpected setbacks? They adjust without complaint. It's as if they exist on an entirely different plane, immune to the trivial disturbances that derail the rest of us. So, what's their secret? It's not luck, innate talent, or decades spent meditating on a mountaintop. The truth is far simpler. They've stopped playing a game that was rigged from the start. Most people operate under the illusion that their emotions are dictated by external events, that the world has the power to make them angry, sad, or frustrated. But the reality is far more liberating. Your emotions are not controlled by what happens to you, but by how you interpret what happens. This is the core insight of Stoicism, and it's the key to becoming unshakable. The power of interpretation. Consider this: someone flips you off in traffic. You have two choices. You can take it personally, let it ruin your mood, and spend the next hour fuming about the injustice of it all. Or, you can pause, consider that maybe they're having a terrible day, and let it go without another thought. The event itself is the same, but the outcome is entirely different, and the only thing that changed was the meaning you assigned to it. This principle applies to everything in life. A stranger's harsh comment only stings if you give it weight. Rejection only hurts if you allow it to define you. A bad day only spirals into a bad week if you obsess over it. The truth is, most of what upsets people doesn't happen in reality. It happens in their minds, where they replay, exaggerate, and catastrophize events long after they're over. How to stop reacting and start choosing. The first step is to stop giving away your peace of mind as if it were worthless. Most people treat their mental calm like a cheap commodity, handing it over to anyone who demands it, whether it's a rude stranger, a frustrating email, or a minor inconvenience. They'll spend hours mentally arguing with someone online, overanalyze a passing glance from a coworker, or let a delayed train ruin their entire afternoon. It's as if they're running a business and giving away all their inventory for free. At some point, you have to start asking, is this worth my energy? Will this matter in a week? Is this really my problem, or am I just borrowing someone else's negativity? Because the harsh truth is that 90% of what stresses people out isn't theirs to carry, it's other people's expectations, insecurities, or bad moods masquerading as their own. The second step is to become an observer rather than a reactor. Most people absorb every negative interaction like a sponge, internalizing the energy of those around them. If someone is stressed, they become stressed. If someone is rude, they take it personally. But the unshakable person sees the same events without absorbing them. For example, if a barista snaps at you, the average person will think, "Why is she so rude to me? What did I do wrong?" and their mood will sour. The observer, on the other hand, thinks, "She must be having a rough day," and moves on without letting it affect them. This is the essence of detachment, allowing the world to move around you without letting it move through you. The art of non-reaction. The third step is mastering the pause. Nearly every regrettable decision in life is made in the heat of the moment, when emotions override logic. The solution? Insert a moment of stillness before reacting. Someone insults you? Pause. Feel anxiety rising? Pause. The urge to argue bubbling up? Pause. That brief moment of silence is where your power lies. It's the space in which you can choose not to react on autopilot. A useful trick is to ask yourself, is this worth my energy? The answer, 99% of the time, is no. The fourth step is to starve the drama. Drama survives on reactions, whether in relationships, workplaces, or social settings. It's an ecosystem that thrives on emotional engagement. Gossip spreads because people react. Toxic people persist because they get a rise out of others. Arguments escalate because both sides participate. But when you stop feeding the system, it collapses. Imagine someone tries to pick a fight with you, and instead of engaging, you simply smile and walk away. They're left with nothing, no fuel, no satisfaction, no control. This is why the most dangerous person in any interaction is the one who refuses to take the bait. Rewiring your emotional responses. At this point, you might be thinking, This sounds great in theory, but how do I actually implement it when emotions feel overwhelming? The answer lies in reprogramming how you process emotions before they take over. First, train your mind like a muscle. Most people treat emotions as if they're wild, uncontrollable forces, but the truth is that emotional responses are learned behaviors. If your brain has always associated stress with panic, it will default to panic. If it's wired to respond to criticism with defensiveness, that reaction will happen automatically. The key is to interrupt these patterns. The next time you feel the urge to react emotionally, pause and ask, what if I responded differently this time? Instead of anger, try amusement. Instead of defensiveness, try silence. Instead of panic, try curiosity. At first, your brain will resist, it will scream that you have to react the old way. But with consistent practice, new pathways form, and one day you'll realize that things which once triggered you no longer do. Second, control your inner narrative. Most people don't realize that their internal dialogue shapes their emotional experience. The next time something bothers you, ask yourself, what story am I telling myself about this? Is this interpretation actually true, or is it just my ego reacting? Because 90% of the time, the narratives we spin are needlessly dramatic. Third, disarm others by refusing to play their game. When people expect a reaction and get none, they lose their footing. This is emotional aikido, using someone's negative energy against them by not resisting it. For example, if someone calls you stubborn, instead of arguing, agree with a smile, "Yep, it's one of my best qualities." If they accuse you of not caring, shrug and say, "Nope, I don't." Nothing frustrates people more than realizing their attempts to provoke you are futile. The reward, unshakable freedom. When you stop reacting to things that don't deserve your attention, something remarkable happens. Toxic people lose their power over you. Trivial annoyances fade into the background. You begin making decisions from a place of logic and intention, rather than impulse and emotion. This isn't about suppressing how you feel, it's about reclaiming control over your responses. The world stops happening to you, and you start happening to it. Want more insights like this? Like and subscribe, this is just the beginning.